now. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We are going to the divisional playoff. This is the big leagues now. We have the big games. 8 teams remain. A lot to talk about with these matchups that are coming up, because this might be, just with a glance at the odds that we're given at this point, this might be one of the tightest weeks, entire schedules I've ever seen, because there's almost no favorites in any of these games. There's barely any edge given to any team, so it's going to be an exciting weekend. But first of all, Smokey, how are you doing?
Man, doing pretty good.
Doing good?
Yeah.
New England's gone, you doing good?
Yeah, that helps. I wish the Bucs were gone. That would help even more. But, you know, the guys who, the frauds are out of it at this point, so... Yeah.
And by frauds, you mean the Cowboys and the Raiders and the Eagles.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
Cardinals
and the
too.
Steelers. I mean,
Oh yeah, then I almost
Steelers
forgot.
barely creeped in there, you know. And I don't know. I don't hate the Steelers or anything, and I don't hate their fan base, but they weren't supposed to be there, so they're gone, and that's the way it should be.
Cannot help but think that the Colts and Chargers would have been a better show in that spot. At Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was the team that impressed you the most over this weekend?
Well, really the Bills. My Bills. I mean, my team that I cheer for whenever the Falcons are out of it.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously they went out there and shellacked the Patriots. Josh Allen looked like Josh Allen. He looked like the superstar. He looked like the guy that is in control of this entire game. He looks like the guy that's going to have a legacy like Aaron Rodgers in 20 years from now. The Patriots just did not show up, and Mac Jones just did not have what it takes to put this team on his back and carry on to victory, while the Bills just rolled right over them. Also, I will give a shout out to the Bengals for pulling out against the Raiders. And yes, the Raiders are no tough beat. You know, they were in the playoffs, so you know, something to be said for that. But the Bengals look really good, and I think the Bengals are probably going to do well this week also.
Bengals look pretty good. Yeah, Joe Burrow seemed ready. I think that team's proven themselves. Like, we had a lot of questions about them, whether they'll be ready for playoff success after such a long time, and they were, and they made it happen. So that's good, because the Raiders are out now, which is preferable. But yeah, I also have to go with Buffalo. I mean, it's the same. To do that to New England of all teams, like if it was Pittsburgh, like the Chiefs did a similar thing to Pittsburgh, and they were less dominant than that. You know, that's one thing, but to do it to the Patriots, the best defensive head coach of all time, with more playoff experience than all these coaches combined, basically, maybe say for Andy Reid, that's insane. That is crazy. And Josh Allen, by the way, he did you know that the perfect, like, mathematically perfect passer rating is 158.3. I've never heard of a number that high, and the only reason that I know is because Josh Allen, I was looking up the stats, and he had a passer rating of 157, and I thought it must have been a mistake, because passer rating doesn't go that high. And then I looked up the way that the scaling works, and he was less than a single point away from a mathematically perfect passer rating.
Wow.
Against New England in the playoffs at like North Pole temperatures. That's completely unheard of.
Yeah, it was like 0 degrees there. It's amazing what they went out and did, and especially after struggling a little bit this season. Yeah, Josh Allen came back, and they kind of poured it on at the very, very end of the season. But they had a lot of struggles this year. That regression really hit Josh Allen this season. But now it looks like he is back up to form like he was last season. And they have as good a shot as any of these guys, I think, that are left, is to make it to the playoffs. Make it to the Super Bowl, sorry.
He looked unstoppable. I mean, they scored a touchdown on every drive. The first playoff game without a field goal, without a punt, and without a turnover.
Yeah.
7 touchdowns and a kneel down.
It's ridiculous.
Again, have I mentioned it was against Belichick and the Patriots?
Yeah. Made Matt Judon look like he wasn't even in the game. Like,
fascinating. That was definitely the most impressive performance. And I will also, of course, The opposite of the most impressive performance, I of course have to give to the Dallas Cowboys, because why wouldn't I, right? Post game, even more so than during the game, and Shannon Sharp, I think, said it best when Dak Prescott justified fans throwing their trash at the referees. They should have thrown the trash at the Cowboys, at Dak Prescott, because that's what they played like, and that is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affairs when Jerry Jones is the voice of reason after any game. But out of all the Cowboys interviews I've heard, he said the most sensible things. So that franchise is gonna have some fun going forward. It's a surprise when you get out of your division suddenly and you have to play real teams.
Yeah, it was a weird game. Weird game, man. I was actually busy while the game was happening, so I had to go back and watch this, as you know, of course, off air. And this was one of the weirdest endings of a game I've ever seen in my life. Not to mention, every time the ball moved an inch, there was a flag. And not to mention that, so the last 3 minutes took like 30 minutes to play. And the ball being moved after it was down, after the referee marked the ball, going back and rewatching it and go, okay, well, that's not where I really wanted to place the ball. So let's put it over here and remeasure it and see if it works. And it didn't work, of course. It makes no sense. And then every chance in the world, it seemed like that the Cowboys had to win this game. And then they blew it on on not getting the ball to the referee and setting it in the very end. And then they ran out of time. On a design run, a design QB run.
Yeah, which is just a ridiculous play call in that spot. But we learned a lot about the NFL rulebook. We learned about a punt hitting the infrastructure of the stadium, which is only possible in Dallas because of Jerry Jones's insane architecture. We learned about the spotting the ball, measuring, respotting, and remeasuring. Never seen that happen before. And of course, the entire Cowboys organization learned about the referee's job. And this is, it was just a failure on all the fronts. Here's the thing that I don't get, because Mike McCarthy said after the game, they practiced this exact situation and this exact play every week. Yeah, he said they practice it Fridays and Saturdays. Practice it all weekend, every week going into this. If you practice that exact play so much, how come you mess up every part of it? Like literally every single part of it. You don't know when to go down, you go too far, take off too much time. You don't know to hurry up and line up. You don't know to be able to let the umpire through, and you don't even know that he has to spot the ball. I have no idea how that happens, because every wide receiver in high school has to know this.
Yeah.
So how somehow between all the experience of Mike McCarthy and the genius of Kellen Moore and the experience of Dak Prescott, somehow Tony Romo was the only guy who instantly knew the rules.
Yeah.
In the commentary booth.
I've never seen a game in my life where the center got to spot the ball. And that's what they thought was just going to happen.
That's when you play pickup football in the backyard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You have no ref. You just hand it to your center and you go again.
Yeah. You call your own flags. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's insane. I'm the first one to criticize NFL officiating, and whenever I get the opportunity, my stance on it in general. The refs, as a general rule, are hopelessly overwhelmed with the rule book in the NFL now, and the officiating performance on average is so disgracefully subpar to the quality of the game and the quality of everything around it, and it's a huge problem. But in this particular case, that was an excellent officiating performance. The penalties were all correct. No one can complain about the penalties. And in that last spot, the umpire was hauling down the field to be able to spot that ball. It's not like he was slow poking it. He was trying. Exactly. He was intentionally spotting the ball further advanced than it actually had to be, because Dak started sliding a couple yards back. So he gave them all the slack he could. And so
that run was just too long. They overdid it. That was it.
And even then, I don't get the play call. And I've heard a lot of people say in post game, I agree with this entirely. It's still better to take 2 shots to the end zone from the 40 than 1 from the 25.
Exactly. Yeah.
And everything has to go perfect to even be able to do that. So no clue, but I won't complain about it. It was hilarious. It was humorous. It was wonderful to see. It was all I wanted. You can confirm this since like 2 months ago. What I said is for the Niners, I just want Dallas. I want Dallas in the first round. And that's exactly what I got. And it could not have gone any better. Going into this week, though, got 8 teams left, and we're going to start off with these predictions. We have, first off, there's, I was going to say highlight games, but they're all highlight games at this point. There's no good or bad games. Bengals at Titans.
Yeah. Oh, and I will say we tied on our predictions last week.
Right, so. Yeah. I got the Niners over you, and then I also picked that other team that didn't do so well.
The Patriots, yes.
I picked the Patriots.
Exactly. The Bengals and Titans. You know, I'm sure out of all you see these are a lot of close games, but I'm sure the Titans are the favored team in this situation. The better record, they're at home, they got the bye, they're going to be rested up. Derrick Henry might be coming back. They have all these offensive weapons, but so does the Bengals. The Bengals have excellent offensive weapons. As young as they may be, this team is actually really great on offense, and Joe Burrow is better than Ryan Tannehill when put side by side. Now, you could say what you want about Joe Mixon versus Derrick Henry, if Derrick Henry's out there, but I don't know. I got this feeling. I mean, I don't think we're going to see the Bengals in the Super Bowl, but I got a feeling right here they're going to go down to Tennessee and beat the Titans this week.
So you said they were favorites. Not even that much. Like, we know that home teams get 3 points.
Yes.
The Titans are 3.5 point favorites at home. So this is basically a coin flip according to bookmakers, and that is up to Joe Burrow. That is specifically because of how impressive Joe Burrow looked toward the end of the season, under pressure, in the playoffs. He looked like a real veteran, which is very, very odd because he's playing on effectively the experience of a rookie still. His rookie season was cut short. This is his first real season as a starter. And this has turned around quickly. And I thought, for the most part, that I was going to pick the Titans no matter what, no matter who goes there. If it's going to be the Raiders, Steelers, Bengals, doesn't matter. I'll pick the first seed, the 1 seed Titans. They'll be rested, get Derrick Henry back. This is a lot harder to now make this pick than I thought it would be, specifically because of how good the Bengals actually looked. Like, better than expected, and they won convincingly. It was closer in the end than it should have been. I'll still go with Tennessee because it doesn't have. We just don't see the 1 seed go one and done very much, and it's maybe kind of an indictment of the situation with Derrick Henry. Still, the uncertainty surrounding him, that the Titans are kind of considered the third best team in the AFC at this point, even though they are the 1 seed. They don't really receive that kind of recognition, and I think they'll feel like, even though they are the 1 seed, they'll have something to prove, and I think they are going to get it done with an extra week of rest. Derrick Henry possibly coming back. I think this offense is going to look very, very good. It's going to be a close game. These are all going to be close games, but this one's going to be very, very close. I'm going to say Tennessee gets it done. Bengals have a huge future. That defense, by the way, is really good. But Larry Ogunjobi being out doesn't help, especially with Derrick Henry possibly being back. So that's a slight hit to the Bengals. They have a great future, but Tennessee gets it done for me. Close one, though. Niners at the Packers.
Yeah, this is kind of tough, really, if you look at it. I'm sure this is probably the biggest spread of the weekend, I would think, right? Yeah. The Packers are coming off, they're also the number 1 seed on the other side, and they're coming off of a bye. They should be ready to go. We know how good Aaron Rodgers can be when he's on point. 49ers are formidable when they are on point, as we saw with the Cowboys. Unless the Cowboys really beat themselves, which it kind of looked like it, but Garoppolo looks like he's doing well with his injuries, so I don't know, man. There's no way I can take the 49ers in this. I'm kind of hoping you'll take the 49ers, then I'm just going to roll with the Packers.
Yeah, you're putting me in this spot, right? Where it's take the Niners or never bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The Packers, I just made the whole argument of the 1 seed for the Titans. This is the biggest spread. Packers are 6-point favorites. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the back-to-back MVP, and this defense is better than it has been in basically a decade. And the one time Aaron Rodgers had an average defense, he won a Super Bowl. With, by the way, Mike McCarthy, who can neither count nor call the correct play in a specific situation. And this is also, by the way, an indictment for Mike McCarthy. Ever since he left, the Packers went to 3 back-to-back NFC Championship games with a first-time head coach in Mike LaFleur. Make of that what you will. It's Aaron Rodgers, best player in the league. He has a better supporting cast than he's had in a long time. They're playing at home at Lambeau Field. They're coming off a bye week. They're rested. I'm taking the 49ers. I'm absolutely, of course, I can't not take the Niners. Here's the thing. If I were to name one thing, without trying to be a homer, but one thing that is the kryptonite of Aaron Rodgers, he is 0-3 in the playoffs against the 49ers.
Yeah.
And that is twice getting completely ran over by Colin Kaepernick, and that is once getting completely ran over in the NFC Championship game in 2019, which is still to this day the worst playoff loss he's ever taken, because they had no chance. It looked like it was a blowout from start to finish. They almost had 300 rushing yards on them.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Falcons put a good one on them in the NFC Championship.
They too, yeah. This is a bad matchup for Green Bay in many senses. And of course, Aaron Rodgers is the great equalizer for all of those, because most teams match up well against the Packers as a whole. Aaron Rodgers equalizes it. And but here's the thing. If you can really start getting to Aaron Rodgers, and we know one of the strengths for the 49ers is the speed of that pass rush. And they've rattled Dak Prescott. He's gotten hit more than he has all season. He's got sacked 5 times, and he just got thrown off his game. Took a sack in the first drive. Hasn't played well all game. If you can hit Aaron Rodgers a lot and get after him, frustrate him, keep the ball out of his hands, and then simultaneously run when you're on offense, take time off the clock, limit the possessions, that is how you beat them. That is the one way you beat Green Bay, and that is the one thing the Niners are best at. So matching up against them is never favorable. But given all the circumstances, they probably have the best shot to do it. And also, I have to pick them. Why not, right?
Yeah.
They came in with a 0.4% probability of making the playoffs in that Rams game in overtime. They went to Dallas and beat Dallas, which is all I wanted. They're playing with house money, nothing to lose. And when you play with house money, you should gamble a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I will take them to go upset Aaron Rodgers at Aaron Rodgers. And this is also going to give Aaron Rodgers the final push that he needs to finally leave this team and go somewhere competent, hopefully. But we'll see about that. I'll take the Niners. Rams at the Buccaneers.
Man, think about this. This is the farthest Matt Stafford has ever been in the playoffs. Right here with the Rams, baby. The Rams look dominant. You know, they look good in the victory over the Cardinals, and there's so much for the post-hype sleepers, which is about as far as I actually predicted them to go. A lot of people thought they were going to go farther because of what they did early on in the season. You know, they were dominant, and they were the number 1 seed for a long time. But not anymore. The Rams are victorious, and they are going on to face the Bucs, which makes it really tough. In my heart, I want the Rams. I want Matt Stafford to go out there and win. I'm sure you don't, but I want to see Stafford beat Brady. And a divisional rival as it is, I guess this game right here is divisional rivals for the two of us. But I don't know. I have a feeling that the Bucs are going to win. Why? Because it's Tom Brady, and they always win. I don't want them to win. But they're going to win, obviously. That's just how it works. I'm going to pick the Bucs, as much as I hate to say it.
So there's a clear conflict of interests here for me. So here's the reason why I want the Tampa Bay Bucs to win is because they play the Rams, and I want the Rams to lose.
Yeah.
But here's the reason why I want the Rams to win is because I just picked the Niners to win. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't it be nice to have a bye week in the conference championship against the Rams for the 49ers? Because we know that's the matchup I want. Obviously, I was rooting for the Rams over Arizona strictly because of the possibility of playing them in the NFC Championship game. I'd much rather play them than Tampa Bay. Much rather play them than Green Bay, but that's unavoidable. So that's the reason why I would theoretically want Tampa Bay to win. Would want the Rams to win, sorry. But I think the satisfaction of having the Rams lose and the Niners ending up being the most successful team in that division, I think that kind of trumps it. Now, I will say this is going to depend a lot on the state of that Tampa Bay offensive line, because he's got 5 all-pros basically in front of him, but 2 of them got banged up last week, and the replacements did not look good. You got Von Miller and Aaron Donald. They are going to be taking advantage of that, and if you can put Brady under pressure, we know he can make mistakes.
Yes.
If he gets uncomfortable, we know he's very fallible, and that's what needs to happen. If they can do it, I think the Rams have a good matchup, but I'm gonna say they'll somehow manage to bring him back. I think they'll be healthy enough to go, and I'll pick the Bucs as well. But this, by the way, looking at odds, this is a pick 'em. Absolute coin flip, 3 points to Tampa Bay. So this is to Vegas. This is a complete pick 'em. I can see why, because Matthew Stafford kind of got that monkey off his back. He looked okay, played well. He didn't lose them the game. He did fine. He did everything they asked him to do. And if he does it again, I think they have a good shot. But I'll take Tampa Bay because their defense is going to make just one more stop than the Rams defense. And this is probably still the highlight game. Bills at the Chiefs.
Yeah, obviously. And that's why they put this one out here at the end of the weekend. Yeah, this, we formulated last year and through into this year that probably the future Brady versus Manning is going to be Allen versus Mahomes. And here it is. Who knows how many times we're going to look at this and on a slate and go, wow, this is the best game of the weekend. I think it's going to be many years of that to come. This is probably close to a pick'em too, right? I would assume so. Both these teams are on fire. Both these teams are on fire offensively. As much as both of the quarterbacks have struggled this year, they both have got it back together, and both these teams are firing offensively almost perfectly. I'm gonna go with my heart. I'm just gonna say the Bills on the road.
It's close to a pick 'em as well. The Chiefs are 2-point favorites, so take away the home field. That's 1 point for the Bills. Very close. Yeah. It's a tough one to pick. And yeah, this is going to be one that we're going to hear about for a long time. And by the way, there's also Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert in that same conference. How about that? Mm-hmm. And possibly some other more talented quarterbacks coming up. It's hard to pick against the guy who just had the best playoff performance by a quarterback in 20 years.
Yeah. Since
Peyton Manning ran over the Broncos in 2003. I can't pick against him. The way that he did, did I mention he did it to New England?
Yeah.
And beating up on the Steelers is one thing, but doing that to New England is another, and looking that dominant and just completely unstoppable. I think Buffalo has probably top to bottom the best roster in the NFL, and if Josh Allen plays at that level, they are the favorites to win everything, and they are going to be ridiculously hard to stop for anyone. And I think if they go into Tennessee, even though Tennessee's the 1 seed, Buffalo will be favored. I think they should be favored against anyone after that game. So I'll take the Bills as well. If both teams play to their strengths, play to their best, Buffalo is a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a ridiculous shootout if they do. It's going to be game of the year.
Absolutely.
But what Josh Allen did, it's a sliver away from mathematically perfect, which in practice is it's not a thing, but it was. So you can't pick against him. It will be foolish to pick against him after that. We know what Mahomes is capable of, what that offense can do. But it's two giants. Absolutely two giants. I'll take the Bills. So we disagree on the first two games. Mm-hmm. I have the Titans and the Niners. You have the Bengals and the Packers. We are tied since we each got 1 point off each other last week. So hopefully this week I'll be right on 2. Well, actually I'm kind of rooting for the Bengals, but I also want to win the predictions.
I would love to see the Bengals and Bills go at it in the chance. The AFC Championship. Yeah.
That would be great because there's no one to root against.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
That'd be phenomenal. And as it stands, I have Niners Bucks and Bills Titans, and you have Packers Bucks and Bengals Bills. Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be good. It'll be really good. Be really, really good for sure. Let us know your picks. Let us know what you think, and drop us a like on the video. We'll play the other quiz next week. And thank you for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard, ha. Check.